So my top 5 cybersecurity blogs are the DFIR Report, and the DFIR Report's number 1 for me right now, just because not only is it free, but it has like a very in-depth coverage of different attacks that a incident responder has responded to, and it does redact like company names, so you don't see any company names get exposed. But let me just show you kind of the structure. I won't read all this, I'll let you go read it, but they give you a case summary. They talk about their services, of course, the DFI report, so I recommend supporting them because they're doing great work. And then they have like a timeline. This is so cool, where they're showing you like day 1, this is what happened, day 2, and they even show you commands that were run, right? They're looking at this through the perspective of the MITRE attack framework, right? And showing you at each stage what technique and tactics are being used. They even tag all the techniques and tactics at the bottom of this. But super cool stuff, and they give you perspective on it, show tweets and how everything was done. So I haven't read this one yet. I just kind of wanted to show you the structure of how I read them. I read from top to bottom. I don't skip around. I'll read the whole thing and just digest it. There's a lot of knowledge here. And here, as you read these, realize, especially if you're a beginner, you may read it and be like, I don't even know what I just read. But the thing that I think is really important about it, though, is that you're starting to get exposure to how this really works, like how a lot of attackers operate, right? Malicious attackers, rather. Some of these are in depth enough that you could like recreate some of this in your own environments, at your house or in your home lab. So this is some cool stuff here. So that's the DFIR report. The other one is the Hack the Boxes blog. I have, full disclosure, I have contributed to this blog. I know the people behind it. They're super awesome people, passionate about helping other people, very knowledgeable, fun, just awesome, all around great people. And the content they produce is really cool on their blog. So I'll show you some of the things they've got up here. They've got case studies from companies that have used Hack the Box. There's some perspective building, and opinion-based blogs about different topics that are hot topics in security. There's CTF write-ups. So whenever they do a CTF, they've started to put some of the write-ups for the challenges up here. Really cool stuff, and it is the company blog, so it's, you're going to have some degree of marketing in there, but just realize there's an insight in there too. So I've kind of summarized a little bit of what, from my perspective, the blog does a good job covering. Top hacking tools, lists, stories from the industry, which it can be very insightful because sometimes the art and the discipline gets subtracted from, how it's being applied. So that perspective can help. You get career tips in a lot of them. I mentioned CTF walkthroughs, learning and topic guides, like guides for beginners, guides, approaches you should take, things like that. A general overview of the industry and emerging trends you'll get from that blog. And there's others too. Like one blog that I think is really great is another one that I put it as number 3. And keep in mind, my list will change depending on what resources I've enjoyed. I made this at a point in time here in September 2022 that these were just the ones that I regularly use. So Daniel Miessler, he is an awesome guy. I'd never met him. I would like to meet him because his content is awesome on his blog site, his newsletter, and his podcast. And I'll talk about his podcast later. But his blog site, he covers a wide variety of topics, right? But his niche seems to be like information security, and the perspective that he delivers is really unique. Like, you hear these common arguments about red teaming versus blue teaming and what's purple teaming and things like that. He offers a unique perspective, so I would recommend follow his blog, bookmark it, however you want to do that, RSS. Security Soup is a really unique one because Security Soup is a weekly news roundup. So I'll show you how it works. You click this news roundup and it has a list of all the different like links to recent things, threat reports, hacks, tools I've seen up here. Again, you see threat research, tools and tips, and it's just honestly every single week is enough. Like this is a lot of stuff that could last you. This, and here's the thing is I recommend during the day, you have a time of the day where you just look through all your blogs, all your learning resources that you have, you dedicate time to that, you read what you're interested in, right? Like I don't come in here and read every single one of these. Would I be very informed if I did that? Yes. But I will see what's something that's really piqued my interest and I'm kind of interested in now. It's nice to have a curated list. So back to my curated list is number 5 of blogs is OXDF's hack stuff. This is a very well world-renowned creator that's at Hack the Box, and then what he does is he creates walkthroughs of retired Hack the Box machines, and he does quite a great job. He gets in depth. I'll show you kind of an idea of it. You look at the new scan box. He gives you the details of that particular box, and then who first blooded it, which means who's the first person that actually was able to get, the root flag, and then and user, I think, right? User and root, and then goes through the steps of how to do it. And the cool thing about this is a lot of people are like, Hack the Box is too hard, and I get where they're coming from, but you can follow, creators like OXDF who are showing off how to finish retired boxes. So like even if you have to start, and there's actually on the Hack the Box blog post called "It's Okay to Use Write-Ups." So you can use write-ups. I mean, a lot of people use write-ups. I use them if I'm really stuck on something. If it has a write-up, I'm gonna look at that write-up because I want to learn, right? But I do get everything doesn't have a write-up. Either way, from a blogging perspective, this is a weekly read, in my opinion. Podcasts are so fun because these are like more passive learning. You can do other things while you're doing it. I'll put my headphones on, maybe connect to my phone over Bluetooth and listen. Do what I'm doing. I can listen to a podcast now, right? But Darknet Diaries is a show created by Jack Rydesider, and he interviews a bunch of different people within information security and cybersecurity, and they tell their stories. And the way they tell the stories, it feels like you're sitting around like a campfire listening to sometimes a scary story or sometimes like a really interesting story. And the way it's produced feels very much like it feels like a movie almost. It sounds like it. So I might be like drinking coffee or eating lunch or doing something like that, and I'm just walking around the house, and I'm listening to Darknet Diaries. Or if I'm on a ride, for example, anytime you go on a road trip, or anytime I've gone on a road trip, I always have some podcasts in mind that I'm going to listen to. Darknet Diaries is always one of them. And I haven't seen listened to every single episode, but there's enough in each of them that it's so engaging. You will learn a lot. You will gain a lot of perspective by listening to this podcast. Again, free. Unsupervised Learning is Daniel Miessler again. He's killing it with the content creation in InfoSec. He covers topics every week. Right, so you see the slogan here is exploring the intersection of security, technology, and society, and what might be coming next. A new episode every Monday morning, and what he does is basically summarizes what happened, and it's like 20 minutes. He has longer episodes, but like most of his episodes are really in digestible chunks. I've often found myself getting to the end of one of his episodes, and I want to listen to it again because I want to retain and I want to get everything he told me in that short period of time. So it's really kind of cool. It's almost like the audio version of reading a newspaper or something, right? It's cool. So he's a must listen. Blueprint's cool. There's a instructor at SANS. His name's John Hubbard. I hope I'm not butchering these names, but a lot of the industry is about like hacking, right? Everybody wants to hack. Everyone wants to do penetration testing, and everybody wants to, do that. But the blue team side, or the defensive perspective, is just as important. So there's not as much defensive content right now out there. I believe that Blueprint does a really good job bringing people in, talking about a SOC. What's a SOC? How are these SOC managers thinking about security? Where are they going? Like, this is how these podcasts, and hearing from some of these like industry leaders, and I guess you could say thought leaders, are thinking about where they're going with tools next. It can also kind of inspire your learning direction. Like, what do I need to go learn next? I'm saying, like, it's really important that you understand that the podcasts and the blogs are not a replacement for formal training. They're a great formal or a great informal way to gain perspective. And for me, like, when you listen to a bunch of them, you can almost start to see and predict where the industry's heading, right? Like, what are the platforms people are using next? What are they seeing? What type of attacks are people mostly seeing? From where? Where are the jobs? Things like that. So, the Blueprint does a good job giving you perspective from the blue side. Black Hills Information Security, also known as BHIS. The company is owned by a guy named John Strand. Great guy. They give away high quality lectures for free, basically, on their YouTube channel. I think they also have a podcast somewhere. I mostly listen and watch their stuff through YouTube. It just gives quite a great perspective. It informs people on different tactics that mainly pen testers are using. They also have career tips on there. So many great things. Check their channel out. That's an immediate subscribe. All this stuff's free, right? And I'm trying to stay neutral here and not be biased. These are the things that I use mostly because I value these organizations a lot and their perspective. Hack the Box, again, you see I have them. I'm a big Hack the Box fanboy, huge fanboy. I've done content creation with them. I know some of them there. And I just know their heart. Like, I know they care, and the content they create shows that. So, like, on Hack the Box's YouTube, which they also have a podcast now with, mainly right now on the podcast, there's a question and answer, there's interviews, but on Hack the Box's YouTube, they have like lectures as well, in topic discussions and walkthroughs. One recent one that's my favorite was from, I think it's called the Cyber Apocalypse CTF they did. It was like a global CTF. There was a presentation done on pivoting, and there was demonstrations as well. And I find for many people, when they're learning about penetration testing, pivoting is kind of hard to overcome as a subject because you have to understand networking. So pivoting, this talk has been one of my favorites on their YouTube channel recently, the Pivoting, Attacking the Unreachable Network by Plain Text. So I would check that out. These are my favorite blogs and podcasts right now, my top 5. I try to keep it to 5. I have more, but for now, I would just like to share those with you. And also let me know in the comments and in chat, what are some of your favorite, you don't have to name 5, you don't have to name a certain number, but what are your favorite podcasts and blogs to follow? Because I don't know about them all. There's more and more popping up daily, weekly. You've got all types of content that's high quality getting out on the market. Let's share that with others. So let me know in the comments. Let me know in chat, and we can learn from each other.